Oh, you're welcome along. So here we are, Tuesdays Off the Ball. Brian O'Driscoll is with us this hour, so we can reflect once again on how brilliant we all are at rugby. And then Gavin Cooney is with us on the football show. France on the horizon Monday, Latvia tomorrow at the Aviva Stadium. And then there are strong rumours that A Slight Tangent may get an outing between 8 and 9.
Yeah, we're just doing it, Joe. At this stage, I have no other options, so the rumours are confirmed.
TBC. Thus far, I kid you not, 7 o'clock. We have no idea what we're talking about. She supposed to have a production meeting about this earlier on. Hasn't happened, not a clue. So, God help us all. Richie McCormack is with us. Hello.
Hello, Joe.
So Brian O'Driscoll with us this hour. Steve Hansen, former All Black coach, stirring the pot already. He's talking about Ireland, and yeah, you know, they're a good team. They're a good team, I'll give you that. They're a good team. But it seems they struggle a bit at World Cups. If it was the All Blacks, they'd probably be called chokers.
Oh, Steve, come on now, Steve. Easy to say that from your double World Cup win in Perth.
Yeah.
One World Cup that he went to? He was there with Graham Henry in 11, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But in 15... he was coach for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure at that stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
well, then he's been involved in 2 World Cup wins. Okay.
It is interesting though, as well as Ireland have played, and we would all, when we talk about Ireland ad nauseum on this show, we would all acknowledge that there is such a difference. It feels like with previous Irish teams, and yet Hansen's view is, look, you won a Six Nations, relax.
See, yeah, I don't know if his comments were slightly more nuanced than that, but yeah, it's... Look, I think now we're probably at the point where that's no harm. I think teams taking us seriously and, you know, treating us as a threat is like, we need that for the ego at a certain point. Mm-hmm. You know, even in 2019 World Cup, where it was like the that kind of conversation of, when you play New Zealand in a real match, they'll hammer you. And I'm like, no, honestly, read the New Zealand Herald. They take us really seriously. They think we're a really good team, you know? So that you're at that point then. Now you're like, I'm actually a bit more confident.
Yeah.
Therefore, let them talk us down. Let them take us lightly. Let them think we're a bunch of chokers. Absolutely. And then see what happens.
What in the name of God is A Slight Tangent, says Sarah in Clontarf. I'm intrigued, she adds. Although Jason Dublin, A Slight Tangent, praise the Lord. He's a fan.
Yeah, it's an inexplicably popular slot where
undeservedly,
you, Will and Arthur talk a load of...
No, it's not that actually. We don't just...
That's the way we put ourselves down. We talk about nuanced points of the week and the day, and read some emails from our esteemed listeners and viewers.
Something like that, yeah. The genesis was during the summer when there was no football show for obvious reasons, and we just decided to have the PM team in here talk about various issues, and people started emailing in, and then we gave it the name A Slight Tangent because that phrase was used
a few times,
and so it's A Slight Tangent, and it appears
speaks for itself, really, doesn't
intermittently is when it appears. Richie's a huge fan of it.
Massive, hence my numerous appearances.
Studio
you gotta
is
pop in,
essential. Studio's essential.
I've even been there on Tuesdays and it hasn't happened, so yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
it doesn't get a look in all the time. It's been 3 or 4 weeks, has it? More?
I don't know, Joe. I think we've been 3 weeks without.
There you go.
So we're back tonight anyway.
We're back tonight, and anything you want us to talk about, A Slight Tangent at offtheball.com, and we'll get to it. It's really it's like a production meeting without the swearing or the libel.
And feel free to give us some topics, because as Joe mentioned, we are going a little bit blind into 8 o'clock tonight.
They're often the better ones. I tell you what though,
they are, but
tell you what we're not discussing. We're not discussing if Freed from Desire at full-time whistle was good, bad or different idea. That's been done.
I don't know. Maybe Arthur and Will have some strong opinions on it. They need to let us know.
I'm not having that conversation again. We should plough on. Newsround brought to you with Gillette Labs. Get the ultimate shave or your money back. Neon Night Edition is available now. Richie, Evan Ferguson is going to put bums on seats tomorrow, you would think.
Yeah, seemingly he will make his first Republic of Ireland start in tomorrow night's friendly with Latvia. Stephen Kenny confirmed today. It'll be the Brighton teenagers' third appearance in a green shirt, following cameos off the bench against both Norway and Malta in November. Stephen Kenny says he'll use tomorrow night's game to offer game time to those who might be struggling for minutes at club level.
Listen, we have a number of players who've not been playing regularly or who've been playing intermittently, and I think tomorrow night's game is important, you know, and for those players and for us to evaluate where they all are and for them to make an impact themselves so they can put themselves into contention for selection against France next Monday, whether that be as starters or players that can make an impact from the bench. And because we need a squad next Monday against France, so it's an important game for a lot of players, and we want to utilise it and maximise the opportunity for the players to give ourselves every chance.
Meanwhile, Richie, Didier Deschamps, I mean, he has to be good at very good at two things. One, managing the football side of France. Two, managing the politics of France.
Yeah, one seems easier than the other, to be fair. Ahead of Monday's Euro 2024 qualifier, France boss Didier Deschamps says Antoine Griezmann will be their vice-captain. The Atletico Madrid forward was reportedly considering his international future after Kylian Mbappe was selected as their new skipper. However, he was pictured with all smiles at training this evening. Griezmann hasn't missed a France international since 2017, 70-plus games in a row. He has represented his country, so it does mean a lot to him.
And he's fresh off the back of a stunningly good World Cup as defensive midfield maestro. Mbappe captain now at the age of 24, 66 caps to his name. Griezmann thought he should be captain in the absence of the departed Hugo Lloris, so they've much ado, I presume.
Philippe Auclair was on during the World Cup talking about Griezmann's run of games and like how understated and underappreciated that record actually is, to play that many games in a row for his country. So the idea that he was going to suddenly just retire and say not coming to Dublin, I don't know if it was ever quite on the cards, but it is interesting. It's funny when you said that Deschamps has to deal with the politics of France. I thought he'd somehow waded into the retirement age scandal. I don't know. What age is Deschamps? He must be close to that French retirement age at this stage.
What is the French retirement age?
62. Macron's going to fall over trying to bring it to 64.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if he's going to fall, but he's in big trouble.
He'll survive.
Well, listen, retirement is not for everybody, Rich.
54 Deschamps is. Some 19 years as senior, Roy Hodgson has returned as Crystal Palace manager until the end of this season. The 75-year-old, and fast maths from me, by the way, the 75-year-old had intended to retire in 2021, having spent 4 years at the Selhurst Park club. But with Palace without a win in 12 Premier League games and just 3 points from safety, he's been tasked with preserving their top-flight status. Dubliner Paddy McCarthy will remain as his assistant at Palace, having acted as their caretaker for Sunday's defeat at Arsenal.
It was a good segue. People usually say that after a terrible one. It's rare there's a good one.
Yeah, no, that was perfect. I didn't know what his next story was because I haven't. I've accidentally not opened the Newsround here in front of me. So
welcome back.
Impressed.
Welcome back to Roy and Ray, said Steve Parish, to everybody's general amazement.
They didn't know it was coming. I laughed this morning heartily, I have to say, when I heard the news. I don't know. I think it's great. Like, why not? Hodgson did a great job at Palace. Like, obviously, at some stage they might have to move on, but yeah, I'm intrigued. I keep going on about this. I haven't talked about it on the show yet, I don't think, but I'm so intrigued by the relegation battle at the moment. 12th place Crystal Palace are 4 points ahead of 20th place Southampton. I think it's Southampton, whoever it is in 20th anyway. Yeah. There's 4 points between 9 teams. I want, Joe, a last day of the season. I know you're not as interested in things that aren't at top level, but tell me this wouldn't be amazing. Last day of the season, no team is relegated and 9 teams could go down.
Yeah, that'd be good. The last relegation
not far away from it.
I really got into was Brian Robson's West Brom.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah,
but that is starting to go back a while.
They were the first team bottom at Christmas, weren't they? Yeah, to survive.
Yeah.
But it's unique. Like literally everybody from 12th down, as Mick says, are separated by like a cigarette paper. Like
Still are 11 points clear of 12th place, and they're in 11th. 11 points clear.
On Roy Hodgson, it's very impressive. 75 years young. It's an amazing example to all of us. Like, keep going, keep doing your thing. Damon Delaney would have great things to say about Hodgson and how he treated him, even when he was in his last year or so and not playing as much. Hodgson was very keen to stay around and stay involved and be an example to younger players, and treated him really well and talked to him about, what are you going to do when you retire and your next steps, and took a real interest in a human being who was in his last season going to be of no value to him next season. And he had other things in his mind with the other 30-odd players in the squad. But
just a good man.
A good man, yeah.
Yeah. That's what you like to hear. I honestly do wish him well. I always liked Hodgson. I always feel that because he probably took 2 jobs that were too big for him what was he supposed to do? That's we always have to fulfill our ambitions, and they just didn't work out. And other than that, has had an unbelievable career.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And he needed this last run of like Palace, and was there a job before Palace? I'm not sure, but
he did great at West Brom as well.
West Brom, exactly. Yeah. He needed that run after England and obviously Fulham after Liverpool to sort of just kind of like reinstate that memory that everybody has of him as a really good football manager.
What job would you like to do at 75?
At 75, God, I don't know. Radio contributor. I'll come on and do the papers with a 74-year-old Jew. And we'll do the Sunday papers together. How about that?
There won't be papers.
We'll do the Sunday onlines, whatever they're called.
You won't have the rustling.
We'll just bring in some pieces of paper.
Okay. Richie, 75. What's your
My
dream?
day, Richie.
What's your dream job at 75, Richie?
I want to be retired as of a year ago. At 75, I don't want to be doing literally anything. God, like I actually admire the drive of these people, the Roy Hodgsons of this world, the Neil Wardocks, for actually still wanting to be not only active members of the community, but actually like still working at a top level. Like it's
tough schedule.
That kind of drive and that kind of it's insane. Like,
active members of the community is such an ageist term. Like you never hear a young person being called an active member of the community.
Well, like the thing with my dad was dead at 75, and there you've got managers in the two top divisions in England still plugging away at that age. Like it's absolutely like amazing stuff.
Yeah,
and you can only commend them for wanting to keep at it and wanting to keep at a job that's that all consuming.
Yeah, it is all consuming.
That's true.
All consuming. I mean, even just physically, the schedule's tough. So people have speculated about the ban that Alexander Mitrovic might be on the receiving end of after his histrionics at Old Trafford.
Yep, and it looks like he's facing a lengthy one. The striker was red carded for making contact with referee Chris Kavanagh as he protested the sending off of Willian during that FA Cup defeat at Manchester United. Mitrovic would normally be given a 3-game suspension for a straight red, but the FA last night said that such a punishment is clearly insufficient. Fulham manager Marco Silva can also look forward to sitting in the stands for a while after he was charged with multiple abuses of match officials, including throwing a water bottle in the direction of an assistant referee.
Yeah, complete meltdown. Next story, pretty interesting. So the Irish women's rugby team, over the last number of years, the level of churn from one game to the next seemed to me to be impossible for any head coach to try and manage. In effect, the sevens players would play for the 15s, and then if there was a sevens tournament, they would go and play that, and the 15s would have to pick up the pieces and draft in 4, 5, 6, 7 new players, and then the sevens team might return and they'd be parachuted straight back into the side, and the players who'd come in their absence are dispensed with, and the thing is all over the shop. So quite interesting, this move from the 15s team now, Rich.
Yeah, Ireland assistant coach Niamh Briggs says their sevens players won't be linking up with the 15s for later rounds of the Women's Six Nations. Ireland's campaign begins on Saturday in Cardiff without the likes of Bevan Parsons, Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe, Eve Higgins and Lucy Mulhall, among others. Briggs was asked today if those players could be parachuted in later in the competition.
Nope. No, we're really happy with the 32 that we've selected. I think we've rewarded girls that have played really well at club, Interpro and Celtic Cup, and it's a very exciting young group, and I think it's probably fair to say it's kind of starting our journey in relation to just continuing on from Japan a little bit. I think last year's Six Nations was a tight time, whereas we got a good chunk of work done in Japan, and then obviously girls going full time and into November, you can already feel a good bit of a difference. So I think for this group, I think it's really important that they know that they're all incredibly valued, and we're really, really happy with them.
I think it's probably a positive move. Loads of text into 53106. I got to get to an ad break. Brian O'Driscoll waiting in the wings. Aidan on YouTube, we have choked. Steve Hansen's right, but they should nail those comments to the dressing room door of the World Cup changing rooms, says Aidan. And then there are slight tangent topics coming in. For instance, Martin and Sligo, a slight tangent topic, lads. I know it's tough to the point of impossible maybe, but where does this Irish rugby team rate in terms of great Irish sporting teams, not just rugby? Mick in Cork. Lads, a topic for a slight tangent. Is Formula 1 all a cod?
Yes, 8 o'clock.
Oh dear. He goes on to say, in my opinion, they should all be driving the same car. Then you'd really know who the best driver is. The best driver, as it is, may now be driving in an inferior car, so we'll never have a chance of competing. I think that's
bloody communist.
Excellent point.
Yeah,
I'm so on board with that. We'll come back to that after 8 o'clock because Lord knows we've nothing else. And then Owen wonders if Where's Me Jumper should be played at every Irish international football match.
Yes. Every public occasion, full stop. Funerals of heads of state, whatever it is, get the Sultans on there.
Okay. On that note, Richie, thank you very much.
Nice and lads.
Michael, thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Joe.